Joe, what's the latest on Zach Butters and his knee?
Yeah, he had the operation yesterday, went well. Time frame 6 to 8 weeks is what we're being told.
How disappointing is that?
It's always disappointing to lose any player, and Butsy being one of our best, but it does give the opportunity for someone else to step up. So I think Jackson Mead will come in and play a bit more time on the wing this week, working with Jace Burgoyne on the other wing. Drury will play more minutes than he did last week, so there's no doom and gloom about it. Yes, it's a bit hurts you a little bit to lose Butsy, but it always gives the opportunity for someone else to step up.
How's he feeling at the moment?
I haven't spoken to him since the op, but he'll get on with business. He'll be attacking his rehab as best as anyone would or could. So he was a little, down when he heard the news, but he's a pretty positive kind of guy who wants to get the best out of himself. So he'll do everything right in the rehab, and he might even surprise us and get back a little earlier.
How confident are you? Obviously, difficult to start to the year. Zach's one of your best players, that you can stay head above water after that early stage without him.
No, we're still really positive of how we've trained over the last couple of months and what we're expecting going forward. So like I said, someone else will replace Butsy, and we'll be really excited when he does come back.
What did they find in there? What was sort of the...
He fell on it during training and didn't think too much of it. He's a pretty tough guy, Butsy. Got through the game okay last week against the Crows, but it just blew up a little bit afterwards. So that's where the concern started. And I don't know the specifics of the operation, but it was 6 to 8 time frame.
What about Radicalea? How's he tracking?
He's going really well. Yeah, he was moving well at training a few days ago. There's a chance he might play some minutes in our internal next week. So if that goes well, a possibility for round one. So he's recovered really well.
Beyond Zach out, what other changes are we expecting?
Other changes. Well, Jeremy will play a bit more time down back, as he did last week. I thought he showed some good signs there. In terms of other changes, it'll be pretty similar to the Crows. I think we'll play 23 in the first half, and then have 3 guys on the bench that might play some minutes in the second half, depending on how some guys get through.
Has there been any tug of war with the Jez thing, or are you happily sort of pushed him back there? Or
the beauty about Jez is he can play anywhere, and he's shown he can play anywhere. So Goldie was really happy to have him. He can even pinch hit in the ruck, and if it doesn't go well down back, we're expecting it will, and he'll be able to hold up really well for us. He can always come back forward, as we know he can do some real damage down there too.
Weren't too many guys from your so-called best 23, 24 that played in that later game. Ollie Lord was one of those that played, quite extended minutes at the end there.
Yep.
How's he tracking, and sort of what can we make of that?
He's had to do a lot of work in the ruck over the pre-season with Dante and Ivan not being available. But now with Ivan back and Dante not too far away, we'd like to settle Lordy forward and getting some continuity there, because I think he's really got some talent and some weapons we could use in the forward line. It's just he's had to be used in other places so far. So from now on, hopefully he can just settle down forward.
But be your chop out, back up, your second ruckman.
Yeah, he's done that. Jeremy's done that. Doing that from a defensive position, it would be something we haven't tried too often, but some other teams have. So we're pretty flexible in who we can use to help out Sweetie at this stage.
Look, coach, would you ever think about swinging him back? I know he's come here as a forward, but he's also a versatile player.
Yeah, not right now. I think the connection himself and Mitch are building is going to be really strong for us. I love the way he kicks the ball inside 50. So right now we'll try and consolidate him as a forward, but going forward we'll wait and see how it all pans out.
What were your main takeouts from last week and your learnings this week?
Takeaway was, we've worked really hard on our offence, and it's a bit of a new system compared to the last couple of years. It's looked really good in training, but for the first time against a really good opposition that probably didn't execute it the way we would have liked. So we've learned a lot from that. Obviously trained it really hard, so we'd like to see a bit of growth in that this week. That was the main takeaway for me.
You'd be pretty excited about the 2 Joes?
Yeah, I love the 2 Joes. They're my favourites already. The way they work with, Darcy's been sort of one out in that role. It's a tough role. It requires a lot of hard work for sometimes not a lot of reward. But these two guys have come in and fitted in beautifully. So pretty excited about what they can and might do.
And getting Pep back, obviously against an opposition last week, he's tracking pretty well to be there round one and everything.
Yeah, he's done everything he can. It was great to have him back out there. He just wants to please and do everything right, so he just needs to take the pressure off himself a little bit and then just let it come. But to have 3 shots on goal, he was involved. Was a pretty good return for a first up off a knee.
Are you excited about this new look, like quick small forward line, and when do you think it's going to, I guess, finally gel with?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We've seen some great passages of play, in the pre-season, playing against ourselves. So now the challenge is to do it well against great opposition teams. And St Kilda, one of the best defensive teams in the AFL. So if we can build on what we showed last week against a strong defensive team, it'll give us real confidence going into the next couple of weeks.
Did you see some of what you have been executing out here in terms of trying to play a little bit quicker, forwards a little bit higher, and get out the back a little bit more in the last game?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of real highlights. It wasn't all doom and gloom with our offence. The one that really stood out, Miles off the half-bank flank, got involved and long to Darcy, open goal square. That's what we've seen a lot during the pre-season. So there was 3 or 4 passages like that, which were really good. Now it's doing it more regularly.
Just with the, haven't asked you about the succession plan since all that came into effect. Obviously your brother couldn't hate it anymore, but what's your view on it all? Do you feel more settled now that it's all sorted for next year?
To be honest, you wouldn't have even known. There's been no change for us. It's been a really smooth transition. Yes, there was a big announcement. That was the only really difference for me. But otherwise, Kenny's as invested. He's got bringing great energy. He's loving the role, and Kari's supporting him really well. So from my end, you wouldn't even know that there's been any change.
What do you make of it when your brother gets on Instagram and says they can't make finals, now it's out?
I make of put a top on and stop trying to be Bill Simmons.
Trying to be you. Just one thing, there's been, I think, 3 concussions already from players pushing another player into someone, another one last night. Do you think that's something that needs to be looked at by the tribunal? Is it a concern at all? Do you think the tribunal will start to...
We have umpires out regularly, and they're always really open with questions that we have for them. That's not one that we've raised with them just yet, but if it continues, obviously we'll be made aware of it. The AFL will send emails to all the coaches at things the umpires are looking at, so if it's a trend, I'm sure we'll be really aware of it.